Welcome back to Adventures in Search and Rescue in the mountains of northern New Mexico. This episode, like the preceding ones, will continue to talk about the various hiking trails you can take. At this point, we're going to be up at the ski basin trailhead. And this discussion will cover, my guess is, at least 2, if not 3, episodes. The first one is when you get to the trailhead, there is a huge map there, so please take a look at it. As you're facing the map, and there's a picnic bench to your left rear, you'll see a small bridge to your right. If you cross the bridge and go right, you'll be hiking up the Windsor Trail towards Wilderness Gate. This is the first part of almost every single hike that you'll take out of the ski basin. There's an exception. That is, when you cross the bridge, if you go left, you'll be hiking down the Windsor Trail. But that's for another time entirely. So now we've taken the right. We've hiked up to Wilderness Gate. And that's a fairly good workout. And it'll warm you up considerably all year round. And there is very little water on that trail, particularly now with the severe drought that we're facing in New Mexico. When you get to Wilderness Gate, you have multiple options. If you stay on the same side of the gate that you arrived at and make a right-hand turn, you'll get to hike up Ravens Ridge. It's an extremely nice hike, not too much severe uphill at the initial part. You can hike all the way up to a phenomenal overlook. Please don't get too close and fall off. It gives you great views out over the Sangre de Cristos. When you get to the overlook, if you continue to hike uphill, this is where it gets fairly steep. But you can hike all the way up to Deception Peak. It's called Deception because you'll climb up to several what it would appear to be ridge lines on the top of the hike, only be deceived and forced to hike back down, lose altitude, never any fun when you're hiking uphill, and to hike back up. But once you get through the ups and downs and you come out of the tree line, you'll then be able to get to Deception Peak, and it is a phenomenal view back over the Nambe drainage. When you're at Deception Peak, you have several alternatives for the way to get down. If you make a right turn as you're facing the Deception, I try to stay away from east, west, north, and south because many of you don't have compasses and may not know how to read that. I don't mean to be offensive. That's just from my experience as being an incident commander for many years in search and rescue. In any event, if you turn back to your right rear, you'll see one of the ski lifts. You can hike over to it and hike down the ski run. It's a nice steep decline, and and at times there's water there for your pet. Once you've reached Deception, you have the ability to hike across to Lake Peak. Now, word of caution, this is not for the faint-hearted. If you go across the top of Lake Peak, it's called the Knife's Edge, and that means there's significant exposure. That means if you look down, it's a long drop. And if you have problems with being exposed like that, it's not recommended. There is a lower trail, but it's not in as good a condition as it once was, and there's also significant exposure there. In any event, most of the time we hike up to Deception and then back down. There's an alternative exit point going down Deception. You don't have to hike up and down as it were, but you have to keep an eye out for it because it's not well marked. But as you're going back down, there's a trail off to the left which takes you back down to the ski run. In any event, as you hike back down, you'll come across the fence line that you've passed on the way up. And I'm going to stop here for a moment because on that fence line as you're going down, or if you didn't want to go all the way up to the overlook, there'll be a meadow. On the uphill side, it's on your left. As you're going back down, it's on your right. You can go through the fence line, and it's a big meadow, very nice. In the winter, it's a great place to let your dogs run in the snow. Or you can walk all the way through it, through the tree line, and then on the other side of the tree line, there's a small hill with a big rock outcropping, which is a great place to have a picnic lunch. In any event, I'll talk some more about different trails out of the ski basin. Till next time, enjoy the trails.